안녕하세요. T1 감독 꼬마 김정균입니다. 예상할 때는 KT를 만날 것 같았었는데 KT를 만나게 된 것 같아요. 꼭 이겨야 되는 상대이기 때문에 오늘 꼭 승리하겠습니다. 컨디션은 괜찮은 것 같아요. 다전제이고 주커픽이 나올 수 있는데 그때 중간중간 수정을 잘하면 오늘 이길 거라고 생각하고 있습니다. 다전제이고 또 새로운 버전이기 때문에 다양하게 준비했습니다. 정말 선수단과 열심히 준비했습니다. 많은 응원 부탁드리겠습니다. T1 화이팅!
안녕하세요. KT 롤스터 코치 최승민입니다. 네, 플레이오프에서는 쉬운 팀이 없다고 생각을 하고 있고 우승을 하기 위해서는 다 이겨야 되기 때문에 이겨야 되는 팀 중에 하나라고 생각하고 있습니다. 저희가 좀 컨디션에 따라서 경기력이 좀 좌지우지 많이 된다고 생각을 해서 일단 좀 평소와 다르게 좀 일찍 취침도 하고 해서 좀 컨디션은 좋은 것 같습니다. T1은 항상 다전제에서 강력한 모습을 보이고 픽이나 그날 플레이나 좀 쉽지 않은 팀이긴 한데 또 저희 팀이 충분히 고점만 낸다면 충분히 이길 수 있는 팀이라고 생각을 합니다. 일단 진다는 생각은 안 하고 왔고요. 무조건 이겨서 2라운드로 갈 수 있도록 하겠습니다. KT 화이팅!
Line him up and knock him down is the theory, as Olaf is just going to be locked in. Of course it is. That's Yasuo. I don't know where that would be going, as I assume it's Figumayushi alongside Carrier's Senna. That could be a lot of fun.
We've seen them play Senna Yasuo, not the most synergy between the two kits, but the wind wall has a lot of value in this situation.
Hang on.
The
Neela to come in.
The thing is, you already do so much healing, and you get the amplified healing from the Neela. But they are playing into this Senna who, the healing potential, the ult potential, the shielding available is a bit absurd. I think KT, they've got some strong aspects of the composition.
To try and deal with it. See what happens here as we hop onto the Rift for game number 1 of the Telecom War. Pioshik will be able to find Ona moving towards his jungle. We'll be backing away, giving them the good old OK there. As Carrier walking in alongside them. Don't know whether this necessarily means we will have any sort of lane swap shenanigans, but Pioshik is going to take a bunch of damage.
Yep, and it looks like we can see Guma moving up. No, Carrier comes out with a sweeper. And I think KT definitely want normal lanes here. The Senna, Neela, even though sustain is pretty big, you're going to get poked out a fair bit with one of your champions being melee in the early lane. And this is what Olaf can just do. His level 1, absurdly powerful.
Yeah, and the fact that KT actually tried to go for a bit of a contest there is kind of confusing.
Just because Faker, but to be honest, don't think they would have killed BDD there, even if the ult did connect. Ona doesn't have his ult, probably would have just been a flash, but still a bit unfortunate. Good moves from BDD.
Pioshik is going to be able to lock down the third. So there we go. They got exactly what they wanted. Looks like Ona will be able to get himself the Rift Scuttler, though. Pioshik not going to be able to get in line for the smite, as Def has hit level 6. Perfect, going for a little bit of a harass attempt on Gumayushi, who just says no.
This is one of the problems.
Here at the same time, Zeus is between turrets, level 7 as well, as Perfect is just going to try and stun him up with that Ruthless Predator. Will be able to make it back to his turret here, but Zeus just cleans up the whole wave before it even really arrives, and Ona is going to be able to steal away the red buff as well. And as you can see, what this is translated to is about a 700 gold lead.
Yep. Looks like a lot of objective focus from KT.
Full vision here of KT. As you can see that control ward in the back of the pit. Looks like they're just happy to trade it and get towards 3-3. As Beryl throws down a high note. Nice drop of the beat there. As Gumayushi is going to get healed back to full, basically, nullifying all of that effort. With the Piercing Darkness, as Senna is wont to do.
Doing this in a 2v1. BDD does have teleport if he wants to defend, but it looks like the focus for KT is down towards that dragon again.
Yep. You can see KT have not done a lot of damage to structures here in this game. As Ona is going to try and put Pioshik to sleep. The prison does come down, but there's the Emperor's Divide. Mom comes through as well, but there is just nothing Pioshik can do. Encore is going to connect here onto the Lilia, but the Dawning Shadow is there in response. And Beryl and BDD just not with enough damage by the looks of things. A Q does come down, but this is a very early Smolder, the flash forward. And BDD not able to do enough to take down Faker's Azir as well, but the extra heal does come on through. KT still able to get back out onto the map and take themselves an Infernal Drake.
It's fine. It feels really awkward to fit in your build, but might be needed. We'll see later when we see some of these Senna ultimates, sorry. And yeah, Beryl just overstepping, gets caught here, and when Guma comes in on the flank, it's just over. There's no way you get out of this situation.
Yep. Right, definitely. He is ahead once again as far as farm is concerned. BDD doing a good job as well. Quickly as possible before BDD, gets up to 750 stacks or whatever number we saw yesterday with all the smolders that were coming out. But right now, Faker is going to do the I'm going to do nothing and avoid the Glacial Prison. That was really nicely done. Beryl throws a point-blank encore, though. And I think Faker, after this one, is going to be dead. So 3 versus 1, those odds weren't great. And that is BDD grabbing himself a kill. As the bullet time does come down, that might actually save this turret. And it will do so. So Deft able to alleviate some of the pressure there. But Perfect can't stick around here in this bottom lane because Ona's making his way over. And that will be first turret blood going over to T1. Lead is still very, very healthy here for T1.
We've seen this one before.
Yeah, okay. So he does have his flash now. But he's still going to get engaged on here by Pureshik. BDD going to breathe on him there as the permafrost does come in. He avoids Mom, though, and the wall is going to stop them from being able to walk up.
Yeah,
Rift Herald goes down in the mid lane, and Faker is just buying as much time as he possibly can. This turret is now going to get aggressive at him as Beryl is just going to flash over. That is going to be the kill picked up, but at what cost, ladies and gentlemen, as the inner turret is going to fall as well as the outer, and Shelly even gets to go on another walk after that.
Yeah, I don't think I'll get another charge in the back of this, just using it to get to Dragon quickly.
That'll do it, though.
But here's the cost. Flash bin from Beryl for him to get that kill on a Faker, and they lose this Dragon. And the reason this is so dangerous, because T1 have a big lead. Yeah, Flash this Seraphine, so risky to try and contest his vision.
And he is going to once again be found. Emperor's Divide is going to go wide this time, though, as KT looking for a teleport angle. BDD comes in on top of the turret as Perfect. He's making his way through as well. Mom comes down. The Dawning Shadow is there, but the AoE damage here from KT is gigantic. There goes Carrier. There goes Faker. Ona was already dead, and now it's just Zeus trying to fight them off, but he knows he's only going to be able to get that one, and KT have their sights on Baron.
A massive overstep from T1 is immediately punished, and just when the game starts to feel like it's going out of KT's control, the standing goal that's available, KT going to look to capitalize on that, trying to push mid in here, and there's just not much T1 can do.
Yep, no stopping this one. They have managed to trade outer for outer so far. As you can see there, the Rebel Baron power play not exactly the largest, as the teleport is going to come through from Faker, as that Glacial Prison just barely enough ergs on it, unfortunately, for Pureshik. So Carrier is going to survive that one. This inner turret not going to be falling on this particular push. So
See
KT
Pureshik going for the Abyssal Mask. Not much magic damage on KT, so perhaps not the highest value buy there.
Let's see what they can actually utilize it for. Maybe Beryl's damage is what they're trying to boost up after he got that flash kill onto Faker. Maybe the next item is just going to be a death cap. You never know. I mean, we probably know that it's not going to be. As Perfect is now slinking around, looking for a flanking Olaf, as the Viking is sort of lurking in that area. Pureshik looking for that angle as well, as the Glacial Prison back up and available once again. Walking forward, does find the ulti there. The Watch Out Eep, something that Ona might need to take into account, but instead, Zeus is on the roam, and Pureshik is in a lot of trouble now. Taken down to 50%, Bowling Ball going to be soaked there by Perfect as KT. They just want to get themselves soul point. The Baron has just worn off, but this is a lot of damage. I don't think that T1 are going to be able to get over towards this Dragon in time, as the Bowling Ball flies in and just sails by Beryl. There is soul point. That is what KT got out of the Baron, and I think, honestly, that's a real good prize.
Yep, they're happy with that one. It's going to put a lot of pressure on T1 in this game, but they're trying to corral them, trying to find an angle here.
Yep, the sleep does go down. Oh! The apotheosis on the 4 is gigantic, but it is another encore from Beryl that is huge as well, but the smolder goes down, Pureshik to follow. Zeus is going ballistic. It's a triple kill for the Viking, and now Beryl and Deft are against the world, and I don't think they like that. It's a quadra kill, and there's the penta for the Olaf top from Zeus here in game 1.
Zeus managed to farm up a big lead in this game, and he's rewarded. This is what the comp wants to do. There's no answer to this Olaf. You can't CC him, and with the center backing him up, you certainly cannot kill him. He just moves through the fight, taking out target by target. The return ult from KT managed to get some value, but it's not enough, and now T1, with the death timers coming up shortly, they won't be able to end, but they are going to do a lot of damage to KT right now, taking that tier 2, getting some more gold, getting that inhib tower as well, and this Olaf, and you see the Olaf just charging in, going target by target, runs through the Seraphine ult, and with the healing from the center, just so hard to deal with. Even with the healing reduction, the Qs still end up being pretty massive.
Yeah, he's like immediately calling for the Penta. And I think it was a pretty possible one, and there it goes.
Absurd. So T1 have control over the Dragon. They're going to be able to take this down and then move over to respond from KT. KT haven't even started the Baron yet, so there's no threat. Good moves from T1 to secure this.
Yep, very nicely done. They will be able to take that one down. Big shielding coming in here from KT as Beryl presses his W button, but T1 looking for that inside track here on this mid lane. A Chu does come down as the bowling ball is just barely going to miss, and KT starting to get split up, starting to look a little bit confused on the map right now. And T1 just kind of running them in circles here with that tempo advantage that they did manage to pick up for themselves.
So they always have a resource to kind of spend.
Well, there's the aggressive advance here, only onto 2 here on the Apotheosis, and Gumayusi taking so much damage back. That is going to be perfect, shutting him down. He gets a huge shield as a bullet time. Point blank here from Def. Faker almost being taken down. Ona has to go golden. Faker is out of there, and Ona is just dead. Zeus now trying to keep himself alive against Perfect and Beryl, and it is just not working, even through the Sterix. And KT win another fight into a Baron.
T1 go for the desperate engage. Guma tries to force it, doesn't find the right members of the area. If KT get the soul, I think the game might just be doomed. Playing into a small with this many stacks and a Hextech soul, Ona has to steal this. There's no other way about it.
Yep, there's going to be another team fight. That is all I know, as this Dragon is going down exceptionally low. Snare not quite going to connect. That is going to be the steal from Ona, but can they keep themselves alive in the fight? BDD going too far forward. It's another Apotheosis as Beryl is going to go down. Ona will be taken out, though BDD is still alive in this one, but not for long. It's a double for Guma. His health bar is just yo-yoing from these heals. And Pyoshik is sent to the nether as well. It is punch for punch, blow for blow between these two teams. So this time, T1 punch back.
And Guma redeems himself for the play around mid, finds the engage that gets on the back line. The healing comes through from Kerry to back him up, but now, you know, T1 denied the soul, but it doesn't matter, they're just gonna end the game.
Yeah, denying the game, I think, is a good idea. Deny enemy nexus seems to be the game plan for T1, and they are just gonna march down this mid lane, take out these nexus turrets. And man, this for game number 1, this was a little bit too intense, but man, it was a banger. We'll see whether we have a few more of these. I don't think you're all that inspired by Renekton Sejuani as the first couple of round of picks. That's even before we have a look at the damage here. I think PDD on the Smolder is something that T1 probably want to take a look at, because he was starting to take over the game. And honestly, if KT had have won that smite, then Hextech...
Powerful, you know?
Oh, wait. Hang on, where are things going? Because I remember when a certain bottom lane played Senna Lee Sin.
I think it's Senna Lee bot.
Sick.
I think it's going to be Senna Lee bot, Lilia jungle, Aatrox top.
I mean, Lilia has to be in the jungle, right? Aatrox probably has to be top lane. This is likely where it's going to be.
What I think. And I think Param, because the thing is, you're not the same damage center, but if you have a bruiser like Lee...
it works. A lot of ways to set up the Yasuo as well, which aren't necessarily usual. Let's jump into the Rift for game number 2.
And... oh no, Def.
Oh dear. Deft already going to get queued here by Carrier, as Beryl doing his very best to try and keep him safe, and is going to be able to do so. Tornado going to connect, though, and now BDD is coming in. Another Q going to land here from Carrier, looking for first blood, and he's going to boop him back, but the flash forward's going to be there. That's going to be first blood, going over to Lee Sin, but Carrier might pay for it. Deft is now in an awkward position. He's going to flash. BDD gets a kill, but so does Faker. Pyoshik's going to turn up. One after the other, they head towards the enemy jungle. That flash was sick from Pyoshik, and now Ona might find himself in a rough position, but it's 2-2, guys. Let's back off. Never mind. Gumayusi is now going to find BDD, also face-checking a brush, as BDD is just going to walk it off. He's like, no, we're finished here. And Guma is going to say, no, we're not, as Beryl is back. And he's Hex flashing, and he's gonna crash onto Gumayushi, who's now found himself a little bit too far forward. Does get the Piercing Darkness though, and Ona spinning around a whole bunch, then takes a bunch of damage back. Over to you, Orcs. This is ridiculous. Oh, okay, just 7? Really?
Yeah, you know, honestly,
I guess it's only game 2. Oh, wow.
Yeah, Carrie is using Ona's skin, the new T1 skin.
Yeah, because he hasn't played it since it was released, right?
Yeah, so...
Wow. That is kind of rude. Hopefully Ona is going to be okay with it. Is finally he's going to flash so that we get the clean 8 towards this Ziggs. But Faker's in trouble. Great interruption on the crash down, but the Ignite still comes in. BDD chasing him down, flapping over. Another Q would do it, but he doesn't overextend. I think if BDD had taken another step forward, he was just dead.
Yeah, very danger close there. Got to respect the threat of T1, who will move up to cover Faker. And he will survive on that one.
Okay. Already there. And it's only 5.5 minutes. As Faker is going in with 300 health, and he's just dead. BDD going to be able to grab that kill as Beryl and Koshik right there ready to challenge.
Yeah, I think maybe a bit more faith in the center than maybe was warranted.
Stacks in this game.
Yep, definitely. And faster stacking, faster spikes. We do now see finally the Renekton and Sejuani pairing, looking to punish Zayas.
Oh, there's the flash forward from Perfect. Zayas is going to get tagged, and the Winter's Wrath will be enough. The dive was beautiful there from KT.
Just the immediate flash done. Stacks the passive, gets the damage. Oh, BDD.
Yep, flapping around in circles here is BDD right now as the Shattering Strike does come in. Faker is going to ignore it, basically. And that is going to be Dragon secured by T1. Oh, I actually thought that he invested the ult, but it was just a permafrost. It's crazy.
Yep.
There we go. As Beryl now looking for an opportunity, could crash over this wall, and there it is! Crashdown does come on through there as well as Zayas does get over here. Gumayushi, let's see whether he can keep them alive. 3 versus 2 right now. A lot of things on cooldown here on KT's side, but it is another pickoff for them.
In this game, but he really benefited from having this winning top laner in that one for the center to sustain up with, and now you don't have that. Perfect moving around. He is so strong in these early grub fights.
Yep, teleport is going to come in here as Perfect getting in. There is the crash down from Beryl. Mega Inferno Bomb right on top of Ona as the grubs are being taken down in the meantime. Carrier dashing into the backline. Perfect surviving for so long, but will eventually be taken down, and the damage is kind of missing here from KT, but these health bars going lower when the bouncing bombs do land. Gumayushi taking a lot of damage, but he is going to still get the ult off. The Dawning Shadow layered across. Def is going to sacrifice himself to get the kill onto the center, but the team fight is won pretty wholeheartedly here by T1.
Such a scrappy fight, but T1, that's where their composition flourishes. KT try and go for the big engage, but we don't see the value coming out, and yeah.
Like a few years ago, this is something that they've always sort of had in their back pocket, as Ona is going to be starting off this Drake once again. Exactly the same dragons as we had in game 1. Quizzical, you could say. Wow. See whether it's another Hextech Soul. I imagine this one's going to be a Chemtech just to give us some of that balance. But if it's a Chemtech Soul and there's a center on the Rift, do not let that be a thing, as it's going to be an Ocean.
KT.
Yeah, it looks like they are just going to be able to leverage their little bit of tempo that they were able to build up for themselves. Hextech Minefield goes down there from Def just to stop Gumayushi from being able to get in. As the snare is going to land onto Perfect. He could still be a target here. Does hold onto the slice in order to get away from Carrier, as there is the Rift Herald picked up by KT. Now they're looking for an escape. Bowling Ball connects. Zayas just going to head towards the mid lane, shove this one out, see whether T1 can catch them on the rotation. Looks like it's just going to be a blue buff steal. That is really a thing. Hasn't been able to get around the map and take plates as well, as we saw. As you can see, all of these turrets looking pretty healthy on T1's side as well. We do get the Rift Herald charging in. T1 here for the defense. Not going to be a turret taken, just going to be a bit of damage here for KT. And I think slow and steady is what wins the race here. It's not really a roller coaster thing in general. Doesn't fit the KT playstyle, but I think if they slow it down, it's going to look better and better as this game goes on.
The bit of the
snout of Bristle that did sort of smell that ball as it was flowing by, as this dragon has now been started. And KT, will they actually commit to any sort of play? Carrier going to get spotted out as the tower is going to be taken, and KT just giving this one up, saying instead, we're just going to try and take your stuff. And with a Ziggs, it kind of makes some sense. Satchel can go down, doesn't even need it, and KT get 2 turrets in trade for a single Ocean Drake.
And they might even
wait, two turrets, I said. I said 2 turrets. By Jove.
One.
Never mind, that's 3. That is going to be Faker now trying to trade it back for an outer turret towards the bottom side of the map, but I don't know whether that one's going to be worth it as KT slink into the enemy jungle. I think that was a pretty good trade. Committing, it's still going to be a loss in a lot of these scenarios. As you can see, Zeus looking for these flank angles, and Carrier on the other side for the pincer is going to get caught out here by Perfect, who does dash his way out. A long way away from any sort of turret right now. You can see Carrier also now moving away. Beryl looking for that flank as Zeus gets on top of his ward once again. The snare going to get picked up by Beryl here as Ona moves over. It's going to be a 50-50, but a take by the Smolder somehow. Carrier steps on 2 balloons and gets down to half health.
Yep, and KT's super happy with that. They denied the soul, and they just bought more time. You know, the concern about the Elder, the flip that it could end up meaning a game lose even with a Smolder on your team. They don't have to worry about that for another 5 minutes. So good moves there from KT. Good secure. Oh, TP flank coming in. This is from Carrier.
Yeah, this is very aggressive. And Gumayusi's just going to get dove on top of Dep. Takes him down with a Mega Inferno Bomb. And Carrier now just not able to find those angles because without the center, what is this comp actually capable of? As now it's Perfect teleporting in. Zeus going to get thrown around like a ragdoll. These executes starting to fly in as he looks to be a hero, but he's burnt to death by BDD. The kick, it's going to connect, and Carrier takes down his ex-teammate, but at what cost? As Faker is at full health, he puts up the wind wall, but 1 versus 4, I just don't think it's going to be enough. The last breath comes down, but it is exactly that. He'll take Pyoshik with him, but KT win the fight. And they sometimes just do that, because like you say, I mean, they have all of the time in the universe in this game. I mean, they're praying for a 70-minuter, as they're not going to get one, as that is going to be a kick out onto Beryl. Mum comes down. Owner is going to absorb a lot of buttons by just pressing Zhonya as he puts the Crocodile to sleep. Is now Perfect. He could be in trouble, but it's another crash down. Dep takes down Ona, and BDD is untouched in this backline. Faker goes in, but the Dragon is mauling them. Dep satchels his way out. That's the Crocodile locking down a kill, and now it's BDD flapping forward, and he can feel the wind in his wings, and Zeus is just gonna go down. It's a triple kill for the Little Dragon. He is legendary. And I don't even think he needs his mom anymore.
He's just untouchable. You know, it felt like the whole fight, BDD was the only person on KT who's never really threatened. He finally sees a window to go in, and he decimates T1. He is more than online at this point. He is taking over the game, and now they might end, actually. It's a Ziggs.
Yeah, Owner is up in 4 seconds time, but like you were saying, there are satchels aplenty here for this Ziggs, as Deft has already gone to work on that first turret. The Nexus is all but dead as it is exposed. The Mega Inferno Bomb just for good measure, and KT even out the series. And the way BDD played it as well, because you saw it in that last fight, I was half expecting BDD just to go in, right? But he was staying on the flanks, waiting for the individual buttons, and as soon as, I think it was Faker's last breath, was the final one to come on through, and then BDD's flapping forward, killing every story, right? Duro, very new support here in the LCK, playing for B&K yesterday. This is Beryl, who was probably one of our best Alistairs in a really long time in 2019. It's going to work out this time around as we get ready to jump onto the Rift. Whoever wins here is going to be going to match point. See who it's going to be. They are trying to hide it for as long as possible. As you can see here, Zeus just getting sliced on, and Deft is standing on a ward. I think he thinks that he's being tricky out the lane.
He's just hanging around, you know?
Yeah, the cow is just, he's out of the paddock and getting stuff done.
This is the danger, though, because I think swapping for KT is good. And I think it's big that Zeus wasn't aware, so it takes longer for him to do this. But Olaf is one of the most annoying champions to have invade your jungle level 1.
Ooh, now he's sort of realizing that he's going to have to get out of here. As, all right, we do have the back completed. And Zeus will pick up a lot of the farm underneath this turret, as we can see.
4v5. One thing to say, if they act now, it's an MF. She can get here pretty quickly as far as champions go.
Yep.
With a strut. But it's also Zeus without TP, so actually, sorry, it's a 4v4 still, and KT feeling confident on that. It's perfect level 6.
Yep, BDD also had control of the mid-wave, so able to get here first. Oh, the steal! That was pretty sexy. T1, I think, can possibly even just move away from this, but you can see Carrier looking aggressive. That's a flash out from Beryl. Mum does a lot of damage to T1. But it is going to be just these two grubs that are going to be taken away. Another one, Gumayushi perhaps? No, not going to happen this time. As, yeah, Perfect just going to walk up and stun the Varus.
That's a crocodile.
Yeah, he's pretty scary. He does have Dominus up and available. Gumayushi without the Chains of Corrupt stacking up this wave. And they do have a lot of chain CC. Of course, Perfect will be able to just press Dominus and try to weather the storm, but this is... Yeah, this is real dangerous. I see what you did there. The ultimate has been precast, but there it is. I just don't know what he's going to be able to do here. He goes and has a nap, and that is going to be first blood going over to Ona. And meanwhile, underneath the turret here, Ragnarok has been popped, and Pyosik has to flash. Deft, not quite able to grab it quickly enough, but still going to be able to lock down the kill. So both top laners
To deal with, you know.
There is some killing some camps to take down. The Ragnarok, like you were talking
Barrel
about, still up and available. Let's see whether this can work in a 3v2, as there is the Ragnarok coming down. Bowling ball avoided, as Beryl is just dead. That's the watch out eat from Ona, as he is going to get pushed back there momentarily. And that dive just straight up didn't work.
Yeah, Beryl, yeah. So his thing is that Zeus isn't on the map right now, but he could be heading topside. KT don't know, so they have to kind of respect the fact that they don't have information on how many members.
It's a little bit annoying there for Ona to be able to catch up, and that is going to be that dragon taken down. But I think the trade here, not exactly fantastic for KT. As you can see, we're ballooning to above 2,000 gold, the lead for T1. Not in as good of a position as he was in prior. As BDD wants to grab this cannon, will be able to do so, won't be able to stop the charge, but also Shelly's not really going to be able to get more than just a bit of damage onto this outer turret, so not the most consequential pieces on the map, just a bit better than what KT have been able to do so far.
Yeah, the side lane of pressure from the Azir and Olaf did a pretty good job, and Zeus has TP ready, he's out of vision if they want to move, and I think KT just giving this one up.
Yeah, it looks like this one's not going to be something that they can actually fight for. We'll have a look at what soul it is going to be. Mountain Soul to come in.
Good one.
Yep, either team going to be pretty happy about that.
And now looking to try and apply some pressure towards that mid-tier 1. Deft could just ult the wave, so I don't think they're going to commit too hard.
Yeah, allowing Zeus to run amok, or allowing Deft to find that big ulti as Flash has to come out here as the Dominus has been popped. Perfect, going down so incredibly low. Teleports coming in from everyone as Ona kind of creep blocked, and that is going to be somehow BDD picking up that kill.
Is going to be a problem and has continued to be throughout the series, even the game they lost.
Oh, unfortunately, caught backing there a little bit. Did have vision, but it was just not enough.
It's later in life. I guess you're not going to...
Wow, BDD started up the Dragon. He's not a member of the Dragon Preservation Society.
Or maybe he left, you know?
Oh, yeah, maybe he had to leave because otherwise they were never going to be able to get the objective. Speaking of objectives, T1, they're just going to run over towards this Baron, and the Dragon will be taken, but can there be any responses? Beryl just dives in there. All right, maybe that's the response. It's Perfect, just pokes his head in and then hops out again immediately, and KT have stopped the Baron.
You know, yeah, they're doing something and like a glass will smash or something, and immediately everyone...
all the blood drains out of your face. Yeah. It's like, please tell me that's not one of the good ones. Oh dear.
You know what? If the mum's that angry, it doesn't even matter if it's one of the good ones.
Yeah, that's very true, actually. You just have to be extremely careful. Speaking about being careful, KT carefully trying to assess whether this Baron is going to be taken down. That is going to be some vision given over. BDD going to be the one to answer the Olaf, as this farming is looking very satisfying, unless you're a T1 fan. As Pyosik, this is good news for T1 fans. Pyosik a little bit too far forward. Ona running very, very quickly. The bowling ball not quite going to connect, but Pyosik going to be sent packing here for now. I believe does have his Warmogs completed, so we'll be able to get that health back relatively soon.
Oh, not quite, actually. So.
Oh, doesn't actually have it built up. Man, been sitting on those components for a while.
So they will get vision with the Make It Rain. Beryl actually has no wards and isn't able to recall.
All right, he's going to have to flash to get himself out of the way. This one eats some honey fruit. Shattering Strike does not land, but Ona will be able to put him to sleep. Throws down the ulti, but had no health to back it up, and is still just able to walk it off. Never mind.
Yeah, he just lives, I guess.
Those hooves were made for walking. As now Pyosik looking for a bit of an angle. T1, I think they found it though, as Chains of Corruption going to have to be flashed, but that's not even the main thing. They have so much control around this Baron area, as Beryl running back, hoofing it as fast as he can.
Okay, but Def can get vision with Make It Rain. That's all they have right now. They're just going to have to go for it.
Yeah, they're going to have to try and find an angle. Here's the Magnet Storm looking to try and keep them out of the pit. And Pyoshik still gets in, but it's not going to be good enough. Look at this AoE damage is gigantic. But T1 are still just going to be able to get out of there with the purple buff in hand.
It's a successful heist, but it still feels weirdly... You know, it worked. They got the Baron, but BDD is still so strong. It still doesn't feel like a true victory right now.
Everything has just gone into BDD, and it's understandable. He's now got 4 items, and they're all really good items.
You know, this feels like an aiming Smolder game.
Oh, it really does. I feel like we watched this yesterday. And aiming won a few of those games. So we can see that building up the Smolder is certainly something that does work. But now it's T1's forte. This is where they get to utilize their control of the map. And you can see able to take down inner turret in the top lane. And it looks like Zeus will be able to protect this siege minion as well, getting to work in this mid lane. 4 grubs paying off as well.
Yeah, this is big, especially against a Smolder. Baron push is going to be tricky just because you can shred the wave so effectively. But T1 keep pushing the gold advantage, but it still feels dangerous.
I mean,
the thing
7 kills this game. Somehow, there's a 6,000 gold lead. As T1, they've started up the Dragon. Vision now given over to KT. As teleport to come in. Let's see what can happen here as the Dragon does fly by, but it's just a little bit of damage onto Ona. They get the edge. Pyoshik, they do manage to avoid the Chains of Corruption largely, but in goes Ona, he goes golden. Can they find the sleeps they're looking for? The flash out from BDD, but he's still gonna get taken down. And this is like what you were talking about, Orcs. Unfortunately, sometimes the little dragon just goes pop, and T1, they are just crushing KT with their wallets now. It's a little bit anticlimactic, but that is the way T1 are going to do it as they look to try and bring us to the next game with match point in hand. That's going to be the clean ace. And T1, I think, just marching up the mid lane.
BDD, he's got a QSS in his inventory, just bought it now, but it's too late. Ends up getting CC'd, ends up going down, and that Smolder, who felt like such a threat, goes down with a whimper. T1, the incremental advantage is apparently we're enough to win them this game.
They're going to make a little bit more proactive play there on the side of KT. I was praising them for their patience, but sometimes it's too much.
Position time, and that final fight just getting blown up. The damage numbers incredibly low across the board. You know, Ona being the most on 19,000 compared to like the previous game. Just very lackluster in terms of how much damage, how much fighting. But T1 had a game plan on the cooldown, and
that's Vayne.
That's Zeus Vayne.
Okay.
Most likely Zeus Vayne into Renekton.
Theoretically, we could have 380 carries and a very sad Sejuani.
Real
My
flex.
goodness.
You know what? You know what? I'm going to say it. You know what's still open?
Yeah, there's a Caitlyn Lux angle, isn't there?
Not even just Lux. If they really want to go 480 carries, Senna is still available.
Oh, God, it is too.
The maximum 80 carries in a draft. It'd be so funny if it was Senna. It'd be so funny.
That would just be way too many 80 carries. Surely it would be.
I think
Oh, it's Lux instead.
It makes more sense, and it's the better duo, but it would have been so
It is still
funny.
0 permafrost.
Yeah.
Like, just nothing.
Just nothing. You know what?
That is so... But also, it is great into Lilia.
It's kind of like...
she kind of wants everyone to be low range and, like, meatballs, and then you just get to spin around and stuff. Now,
what the hell?
yeah, what happened?
What
the
am
top
I
lane is
doing?
like, I just need to counterpick my Renekton. The mid lane is like, I need to counterpick this Corki. And that is probably almost what happened. Because that is kind of what they did. The lanes actually look pretty good here for T1, but I'm interested to see how it all comes together as we get onto the Rift for this one. T1 with match point. They can win this on the red side, then they are moving on to round 2. KT will have to head to the World's Gauntlet. Let's get into it.
Power in the 2v2.
Oh, maybe it's just
don't get hit.
Maybe it's Mikhail's
And
rush.
unfortunately, Carrier can't use T1 Lux because he didn't get it.
Yeah, he did not. Taking some cues here all over the place. Light Binding does go wide as there is the Arcane Shift forward. We bring up the win rate as they take so much damage. Oh, the flash forward from Beryl. And that will get the flash out from Gumayushi. He has no summoner spells left remaining, only Deft's flash. Regardless of that fact, as now Carrier could be in trouble, has just ignited Deft. As Deft running out of mana just a little bit, but will still connect the W. Pyoshik comes on in, and Deft able to get himself out of the way of the Lucent Singularity. Still going to take a turret shot, but does have the Inspire Shield, as Pyoshik able to dance his way out of Ona's Winter's Wrath. Maybe Lilia will come up and she'll help me.
Do you think? Do you think when you get into a game like this, KT just mute top? You think like Payfuck's like, hey, it's a great time. You could probably gank now. I think the Vayne's overstepping a bit, and they just literally just moved him out the call. He's in his own call by himself.
He's just actually. It's going to be a nice little catch on to Deft, who does take that delayed punch of damage. Happy about that, but unfortunately, they don't get another go in these playoffs if they don't win this game. As Kyoshik has started off this dragon, Carrier is standing on a ward right now as he does move himself in. Remember, it's kind of an awkward composition to start off fights with, but Ona is certainly the one. That is the flash over there from Kyoshik. Just try and put Ona to sleep as the final spark does come in. Ona can just walk on forward, but the dragon has been taken down. Mum gets mad. Connects onto Beryl and BDD, but they are already out of there. But
no, this Vayne's going to be a problem. And again, they don't have great lockdown. Like, Renekton getting to a Vayne and stunning can be really hard in the later stages. Lilia getting the sleep to proc, really difficult. There's no other CC in the composition, so might be a big struggle in the late game in general.
Ooh, there's a final spark to come on through. That is still going to be Kyoshik picking up that grub. Might just be all of these going on over as T1 not looking to commit to this grub fight. So 4-2 going to be the advantage here on KT's side. The first good news story that there is, unless Ona will just come in and steal it away, but it's not going to be the case. As Faker here towards the bottom side, just grabbing a plate smorgasbord and looking to try and push T1 ever further ahead. Beryl is rotating down though, and we do have BDD in position. Okay, Sneeze does connect onto two. It's a lot of stacks. That's not too bad, but the flash forward from Beryl to try and get that snare locked in. Mum comes on through, but the slow is still going to be there. Valkyrie forward, and that is going to be first blood going to BDD on his Corki.
Able to find a kill. That's true.
You press a lot of R.
I love how there's now 3 people in Pivx lane.
Yeah, Zeus and Faker are going to be able to easily take down this turret. That is going to be first turret blood going over their way, further extending that gold advantage as KT looking to try and answer here towards the top side. It's BDD that's getting the majority of that money, but the problem is the KT now having to deal with an inner turret just being focused. Rift Herald is going to be employed alongside BDD. But if it gets another charge, they might be able to answer this.
Yeah, I think if they trade even, it's pretty okay, all things considered.
With 4 grubs, this should actually be very doable.
With how
especially
low
with no one there, yeah.
I think KT are probably okay with how this has panned out.
Throughout this entire series.
I'm dialed in.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's good to see. And now we're just praying for a Cloud Soul for all that extra movement speed, and it's an Ocean set. 2 control wards in your inventory the entire game. Maybe that's because then you can't buy them. Okay, perfect. Just wants to clear out the wave. Does stun up Zeus as he comes in. True Shot Barrage clears out the wave, but Perfect is so dead.
It was already going good. They've really piled it on and just making this champion feel so useless.
Getting your stuff stolen by a Sejuani when you're a champion like Lilia, yes, does feel really bad. As Glacial Prison does come forward, Beryl's like, nah, don't need to press my
Chaos on that. Oh, Perfect's here. The Renekton has shown up.
There we go. Gets immediately shot at by Gumayushi, who changes targets.
Guns are pretty effective against Crocodiles.
Oh, okay. Kyoshik having a little bit of a spin here. Does get sneezed on by Faker. And it looks like we are trying to set up for this next dragon. Dragon number 3. As BDD is pretty scary. Does do a fair bit of damage.
It's an awkward spot because BDD's Manamune isn't stacked, and Deft has the stacks but doesn't have the items. So
they could have gone for a trade.
They're not as strong as they should be right now. They're a bit behind. I think they should just give this dragon up, honestly.
Yeah, and it's just a Cloud. I don't think they're too worried about giving that one up. We have spoken about giving things up and being like, that's okay, but then like afterwards, KT just kind of lost the game.
KT are masters of giving up.
Yeah, this is the problem, is that eventually you do need to get control back, and giving things up does not quite help you there.
Yeah, giving up Nexus, not a good play.
Yeah.
Giving up singular dragon, that's okay.
It's okay. Perfect's here to defend the turret. Perfect may not be here for much longer. It's okay, there's the dash forward from Kyoshik. Does find a sleep onto 1, but it's not exactly high priority there as Gumayushi did just get so far away. Bum comes down, the minion waves are all just obliterated. So it's not going to result in too much.
They can't get onto them and they're just not doing enough damage. T1 just kind of stand there and fire skill shots at you until you lose. It's kind of the vibe at the moment. They are going to lose this mid-tier 1.
It is definitely going to go down.
Yeah.
The sneeze not going to quite work, but it does not matter. Gets them away from it. And so T1 got what they came for. T1 have so much control of this map right now. And 24 minutes, it's about time. Almost too late for T1 to be going for a Baron, as that's a nice fadeaway there, as Mikhails is going to be employed nicely just to try and mitigate that CC. But the final spark comes down. Deft has to flash to get himself out of the way, also using his barrier. It's a lot of buttons now on cooldown.
I love how the Mikhails is used on Pureshik, and Deft is like, now it's my turn to shift in, and he gets rooted. Yeah, not too much coming from that for KT. You know, a lot of summoners burn. I think T1 definitely happy with that, getting the flash barrier from Deft. The Mikhails a bit shorter cooldown, so not as big. And they'll just take that. That's all they need. Burn a couple of sums, maybe look towards Ocean Dragon in a minute and a half.
I'll tell you what, though, at 25 minutes, like, a 2.8k gold lead is not very much. So, theoretically, T1, KT still have a team fight in them.
I mean, I think this is as strong as they're going to get, honestly, for Deft and BDD. This is as strong as you're really going to be. If you let the game go any longer, it's only going to get worse, and they don't feel that strong now, so that's why it's kind of feeling a bit dire. But it's possible. There's a lot of squishy members on T1.
Beryl is now probably big dead.
He's very dead.
Big time.
Yeah, I was going to say
dead.
there's a lot of squishy members on T1, so maybe you can pick someone. But Beryl's also squishy and now dead, and now Baron is gone. And the question is, will Pureshik be there in the next 5 seconds?
Well, True Shot Barrage did do a fair bit of damage. Now T1 possibly in a little bit of trouble. Pureshik, can you get the steal? The answer's no. Ona locks that one down, but Gumayusi already dead. At the beginning of this one, Pureshik down very, very low as Faker just explodes. Deft trying to get the extra autos in. He finally helps BDD take him out. As now Ona, he'll be taken off the board as well.
Oh, the TP back in?
Yep, looking for the angle here. BDD just, I mean, it's one tumble auto attack, and this Corki is just dead. And Zeus with that Night Hunter is very, very scary on the chase down. Him and Carrier both with the Baron still up and available, though, and I think T1 is still pretty happy with how this one went.
You know, they managed to get a trade up in the end of it, but not the cleanest Baron. Definitely didn't really have an exit plan for that one. And now KT can pick up this Dragon. So not really going to get the value you'd maybe hoped out of securing Baron, but you didn't all die, I think is the takeaway on this one.
There you go.
BDD pretty strong now, though. Picked up a lot of those kills. Carrier, you are very squishy.
Yeah, he also had to stand still to put out that final spark, which meant that BDD was able to get on over there. So that is going to be a turret going down in the mid lane as well.
True remaining.
Yeah.
Oh, TP flank.
All right, it's time for Perfect to shine, ladies and gentlemen. He sidesteps the light binding. That's a great start as Carrier going to be taken out first. Pureshik going to steal the kill away from a well-deserving Perfect who just needed something in this game, for goodness sake. T1 now just trying to get out of there. They've lost their support this time around, and KT looking to push further forward. True Shot Barrage to stop them from rotating around, and it is another turret to be taken here for KT. Still a lot of poke damage back. Gumayusi going down relatively low, though. Still T1, they get rid of the minion wave. They are going to be able to force KT back now, as they can't push further forward.
Good at baiting through bulkier targets. Faker can do a good job against bulkier targets as well with the 2 damage burn. I mean, he's good against squishies too, but BDD just chunks these squishies. Like, if he gets a big one plus empowered auto onto a squishier target here, he will just nuke them.
Well, Pureshik with that stacked up passive, actually able to ward brushes and face check things. It's kind of cool the way that they're utilizing it. Also does now have
the singular tank.
The spell shield.
You know, I can't remember the last time I've seen him like proc his permafrost.
Yeah. I mean, you just don't, I don't think. Not in this composition.
Old bot.
It's the most anti-permafrost comp that T1 have ever come up with. And they've come up with the most of them.
Yeah, you're just an old bot and a beefcake. Those are the 2 things you do.
And I think that because of that, like, we were looking at Deft not picking Cleanse, and we're like, that's a little bit silly. But if you have Mikhails, what else is there to cleanse outside of, like, light bindings that we see right here that don't necessarily last as long as a Glacial Prison that really does feel like your avenue into a fight?
And get some poke down.
The worst thing would be if KT wins this game and they're like, ah, yes, the blind pick
sleep.
that's going to wait. Yes, Sleep is going to come on through. True Shot Barrage is going to connect as Zeus gets himself out of there, but he's now extraordinarily low. Another flash as Carrier gets himself out of there. And T1 kind of on the ropes.
I mean, you could just fish with the bowling balls, and basically anyone but owner it hits is an immediate threat. when it comes to this sleep potential. Now they're going to start onto the Baron, but T1 are there responding. Ona's healing up with the Warmogs.
Yeah.
Kind of low on mana.
Banana Brush control. BDD kind of out of the fight right now, though, as there is the engage from Ona. Perfect, just dashing his way out. Doesn't have the dominance. Oh my god! Okay, that's a Trinity Force proc. If ever I've seen one there from BDD.
Oh, they can just start the Baron, though, if you back up Perfect.
Yeah, he's in trouble, but isn't going to get snared. And T1, they have all of the traps down. The bowling ball's going to be avoided this time as BDD Valkyries his way in. Somehow Pioshik's little hooves do not connect onto the traps. Beryl not going to be so lucky. Baron down to 6,000. These rockets still coming in. True Shot Barrage doing a fair bit of work. A flash in from Pioshik, and he steals away the Baron. He might just die though, and there he goes. Zeus now thinks that it's his time as KT just trying to vacate the area. Perfect trying to be bouncer now to keep his team alive. Beryl, can you press Mantra and Inspire? That's the question as Faker trying to flap his way out. Oh, they're just bombing. Oh my god, the damage. And Gumayushi going to be able to take down the Crocodile once again. Ace in the hole is going to lock down Beryl. And Def, the last Baron standing. And T1, they're looking to break open the base.
I just feel to end the series here. 20 seconds of Pioshik. He has ult. Beryl doesn't have ult. Sorry, Def doesn't have ult. He needs to try and clear the wave. I don't think he's going to have a chance.
Needs to land a few more of these Qs. Try and bring that one down as much as possible. I mean, it's taking a while because the Baron buff is going to be there. True Shot Barrage now just aimed at the minions. Nexus turret number 1 is going to be taken down, though. They're trying to tank this one up as best they can. As Ona going down exceptionally low. There is the kill under the Sejuani, and Pioshik is back up, but they're just killing the Nexus. They're just going to round 2, and KT, they're not out of the race for playoffs yet, but they out of the race for Worlds yet, but they are out of playoffs.
T1 playing that exactly as they should, and Def tried. Razondov and, you know, Perfect. I can't really blame him for this game. It just feels terrible playing this matchup when you didn't really get support from your jungler because Pioshik wasn't able to support. And it's a bit of a wacky
Thank you very much, guys. This is Jason for the post-match interview translation. And T1 is the winner of the second match of the first round of the 2024 LCK Summer Playoffs, brought to you by Woori Bank. Let's hear from Zeus owner Faker, Gumayushi, and Kyria after their win up against KT Roaster. Congratulations, everyone. Firstly, Zeus, you made a huge impact right from the get-go. The game number 1, you confidently picked Olaf and secured your first career pentakill. How did you feel? I mean, Olaf, you know, it's something that you have to actually go for as a challenge. You know, it's not an easy champion to just lock in such a decisive moment. And I was thinking to myself, will I ever get to do a penta in my entire career? And finally, I got my penta. It feels amazing. The strategies that T1 prepared today worked out very well, including Olaf, Nilasena, and Vayne as well. How did you approach the pick and ban preparation? So we were going through a lot of options and, you know, comps, and then Olaf was definitely one of them. I don't care about other lanes though. And the last game, the drafting went kind of different from game 1 to 3. We had a lot of AD carries on the side of T1. What kind of advantage did you see in this setup? Looking at the composition on the top side, especially considering the jungle, I thought Vayne would have a really good environment to scale, so we just went for it. Now, in the second round of the playoffs, you will face either Genji or Hana Life Esports. How do you anticipate the matchup? I mean, we're the one being chosen, so we don't have no choice, but our ultimate goal is winning the LCK, so I don't really care much about our opponent coming right after because we have to go all the way anyways.
1대1로 승리를 하고 2라운드
Moving on to Owner, with this 3-1 victory, you managed to advance to the second round. How do you feel? We really had to win the match today, and I'm so relieved and happy that we got a 3-1 victory.
중요하게 생각했던 점은 무엇일까요?
What was the most important aspect did you prepare for the matchup up against KT? I thought, getting the favorable matchup in the jungle would be the ideal kind of game plan for us. So we focused on banning 3 picks in the jungle role. And in game 3, you won the unanimous POG on Lilia. So what makes Lilia so strong right now? Her clear speed is very fast, and also her skirmish is really strong as well. I think Lilia is a very decent pick in the current meta and patch, and I think actually it's one of the strong picks right now. Then what are your thoughts and resolution for the next round in the playoffs? Yeah, we have no choice. We don't really know who we're gonna face up against, but we're pretty confident, with either of the potential matchups. So we will make sure to get another win there.
이어서 페이커 선수와 인터뷰 나눠보겠습니다. 페이커 선수,
And Faker. So today's match was an elimination match for both of you guys, and it was also the classic telecom war. What was your mindset going into this matchup? Well, being this is an elimination game, really did not really come into my head. I didn't care too much about that. I just focused on the match itself, and we were able to do well on stage.
그 전까지는 BDD 선수가 스몰더를 계속 꺼낸 걸 보면
So you played Smolder for the first time, and that was your 78th champion in the LCK. BDD has been playing the champion a lot, so how do you evaluate this pick right now? I could kind of tell that KT Roaster was drafting around their mid lane. They were prioritizing their mid lane pick a lot. So in the last game, we thought, let's just take that away from that. And I think that strategy worked really well.
최근 등장했던 또 미드 나서스가 오늘 계속해서
And Nasus mid has been a recent trend, and it was been throughout today's series. So what are your thoughts on Nasus pick? Well, Nasus? Yeah, it is a champion. It's a very fun champion. And a lot of people are experimenting it on the mid lane, so I also am paying attention to the current resurgence of Nasus on the mid lane. How do you see T1 performing in the higher rounds, in the bigger stages? It's gonna be pretty different from our regular season form. Usually we lost to Genji and Hana Life throughout the summer season, but this time around we will display a different kind of a form and performance.
자, 이어서 그럼 구마유시 선수와 인터뷰 나눠보겠습니다.
Now,
KT를
Kumayushi.
상대로 오늘 승리를 하게 된 플레이오프 1라운드였습니다. 오늘 경기
You guys picked up a win up against KT Roaster in the first round of the playoffs. How would you like to summarize your performance and your team's performance today? It means a lot considering the fact that we were able to go for many different strategies, and I think we also need to come back stronger considering that our potential opponents will be either Hana Life or Genji. And Kumayushi, you picked Nilla for the first time this summer in the first game and earned the POG. You made some bold plays with aggressive engagement. What was your mindset during those moments? Our comp kind of lacked engaged tools, so I thought I would be the one to proactively going forward to make plays and set up for my team. And then in the last game, you and Keria picked your signature Caitlyn Lux combo. How did you view the bot lane matchup? So we were going up against Azure Karma, which is not a prominent or a meta duo right now, and the laning phase is really difficult. It actually, a single aspect can turn the entire bot lane matchup around. So it was a very kind of uncomfortable matchup, but thankfully we managed to go through it and win. I mean, I have a feeling that Genji might choose us. I kind of prefer, or I would like to face Genji, but regardless of the outcome, we will do our best, whether it's gonna be Genji or Hana Life. And Keria, T1 prioritized Senna a lot today. How do you evaluate Senna after the recent patch? After the changes, we did a lot of practice with Senna and also against Senna, but I was not sure unsure how it's gonna be played on stage, and I was also unsure whether KT will actually play it. But I think the matchup went as I kind of expected, so I was pretty much relieved.
참 중요하다 이런 생각이 들었는데요. 2년
And
만에
a lot of people predicted that support matchup would be very crucial today, facing Barrel in a best of 5 for the first time in 2 years. What did you see as the key factors?
형들이 이제 바텀을 좀 내려서 상체를 좀 보좌하는
KT roster, they tend to kind of
그런 것들을
finish their bot lane comp in the second phase in order to add more power to the top side drafting. So we wanted to keep that in mind when it comes to our pick and bans.
가져가시면서 기분 좋으실 것 같습니다. 자, 그렇다면 이제 플레이오프 2라운드에 대한 각오도 들어보겠습니다.
Then what are your resolutions for the second round of the playoffs? So we are performing on a new patch, so I think it allowed us to kind of get our hands on many different picks, and we are in a very much more comfortable situation compared to the regular season, considering the changes that the patch kind of concluded. So I think we will be able to do better than the regular season. Now back to Faker. As always, T1 showcased an amazing performance in a best of 5 series. So what are your resolutions and goals for the playoffs? This summer season, we had a lot of ups and downs. Our performance was fluctuating a lot as well, but we are always doing our best, especially for the playoffs. So I would look forward to your continuous support, and I always appreciate your love. And this will be the end of the post-match interview with the T1 players, and back to the space. Thank you.